Do what?
How are you feeling? All good?
Oh yeah, I'm feeling phenomenal, brother. I'm ready to knock this out. How about you?
Awesome. Yeah, same, man. I just had a look. We just hit 60 regos, so man,
Woo!
it's exciting. It's going so well.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah, just gonna fix this up. Oh, Tanya's on board with us again. Hey, Tanya.
What's going on, Tanya? Hmm.
Cool. So we're going to give it a couple of minutes, guys, and just help enough time for people to get on board. We're really super excited today because we're talking about probably, I think for Kevin and myself, our biggest passion is talking about health and the mind and the body. So we're really going to be diving deep into the body and really giving some powerful tools that you can start implementing straight away. Literally, as soon as you listen to these tips and tools, you can go out and start implementing them in your day-to-day routine and really start tapping in and taking your health and your body to a whole new level. And I really
Mm,
believe that for me, talk about values list, and you've got a range of different values like relationships, career, spirituality, all of these different paths that we can go down and in values list. And for me, health has always been right at the top of the list, even above family and my wife and my kids. And that's not to say that, I don't value them as much, but my health, without my health, I literally have nothing. I think
mm,
in this day and age, people go through and think of health as a last priority. And it's only when they get an issue coming up with their body that's a serious sickness, a disease, they get a really big wake up call, and then they think to themselves, I wish I'd have made health a priority much earlier on. So we're here today to start planting some seeds that start shifting health up the order of the value list and up the order of priorities in your life. And that will then fuel all the other areas of your life, whether it's relationships or career or finances. Everything else is fueled by how you feel physically and mentally and emotionally. So yeah, we're going to be diving deep into that today, which we're super excited about.
yes, very, very excited, Brad, and excellent intro. And just as you're tuning into this, just take a moment to bring a lot of gratitude for the body. It is like one of the most complex organisms, and we have trillions upon trillions of cells that are constantly dying and being recreated, and all of this like takes place without our like conscious effort. It is just like a natural process. So we're very gifted to be in these physical vessels. And as Brad mentioned, we're going to be diving into some very potent ways that you can optimize your body.
Totally. And our bodies have an incredible ability to heal. So when you're watching this video, just know that your body can heal itself incredibly efficiently when we give it the right environment and the right tools and the right beliefs and the right mindset as well. So no matter where you're at in terms of your health currently, it can completely transform in a relatively short period of time if you really commit to implementing some of these strategies we're about to discuss on today's call.
Absolutely. And Brad, if you're ready, let's go ahead and dive in.
All right, let's do it.
Cool. So the first topic that I'm going to be speaking about is body movement. Now, it's no secret that we are designed to move. Just look at all the complex types of movements we can make. And if we really kind of take a step back and zoom out a little bit at our hunter-gatherer ancestors, they were continually on the move, fetching water, hunting food, gathering supplies. And we have evolved from their genetics. And so in today's society, we can be a little bit more sedentary. There's a lot of sitting, even as we're doing on this call right now, where if we're sitting in a car or in a classroom when we were younger. And so it's very important that you incorporate a lot of movement into your life. Now, this doesn't have to be like an all-out physical exertion every day, but some studies have actually shown that even people that only train like moderate intensity exercise for an hour a day are only about 4% more active than the majority of the population that is sedentary. So like it's very, again, key here that like you're getting up, you're getting some walks in, you're finding some type of exercise that you like really enjoy, because that's going to make the whole process that much smoother for you. And ultimately just being sure that you're moving your body. Now, what this does is actually, like, when you get up in the morning, say like you get up and you take a walk first thing in the morning, this is actually going to help your body to like assimilate nutrients and circulate blood through your system. And so, like, I mean, obviously there's just all kinds of benefits from increasing lean muscle mass if you're like doing some kind of weight training, or increasing your cardiorespiratory system if you're running or swimming. And all this is going to contribute to just a more comfortable sense in your body, because your body desires to be active, to move. It's what we're wired to do. And this is also going to contribute to your overall longevity.
Awesome. Love it. And, as you were saying, Kevin, the day-to-day activity all adds up. So like, just taking the stairs instead of the lift, or parking your car one block away from the shop so you get a little bit there, or walking the dog, or as Tanya just mentioned, gardening. All of these little activities all add up as the day goes on. And yeah, especially when we're spending a lot of time sitting every day. Like I spend a lot of time on my computer, but literally every 30 minutes I'm up, or I'm jogging on the spot, or jumping up and down, or going outside, or constantly moving my body. So even though I am sitting a long portion of the day, I still make time and make an effort to move my body and keep that energy flowing and that blood flowing, as well as going to the gym or going for a walk at night or whatever it is. But all of those little bits keep adding up. And yeah, so Lisa just jumped on. Hey Lisa, how are you? Thanks for joining us. So we've just covered the first one, which is movement, and moving into the next point that we're going to talk about is nutrition. Now, we had to put this in there because you can't talk about the body and health without talking about nutrition. I believe it is right up there in terms of how it can impact your body and also your energy levels and the way you feel. Now, we could do a huge series just on nutrition because there's so much to talk about, but I'm just going to give the overall big picture of what is going to shift you more from where you are now to more a state of health and well-being. So I'm not going to get into whether paleo is the right way to go, or vegan or vegetarian. There's so many different options, and for every person, people are so unique. For me personally, I'm probably 95% vegan, but I also have honey, I also have eggs, and occasionally I'll have a piece of fish. So like, I just listen to my body and see what feels right for me. So in terms of general principles, it really comes down to common sense. Like these days, so much food is processed and refined and packaged. And even if you just make a shift of cutting down that processed, packaged, refined food, so it makes up less than 10 to 15% of your overall diet, and then the other 85% can be made up of whole foods, the way that God designed them. So plenty of fruits and vegetables and grains and nuts and seeds and things that are really going to fuel your body. And if you do go for meat, choose organic meat and make sure you give thanks to the animal that provided that meat for you. That completely shifts the energy when you're eating that meat, just by giving thanks and thanking that animal for nourishing your body. Also, with the fruits and vegetables that you buy, if you can, try to go organic, because these days they spray so many chemicals and fertilizers and pesticides, and there's so much sprayed on the food these days that really builds up the toxicity in your body. And also there's a lot of scientific studies now that proves that organic food has a much higher content of nutrients and vitamins and minerals. So the amount that you're eating will really go to fueling your body. So if you can make that shift as well, that would be amazing. And yeah, obviously cutting down on foods that, as I said, that are high in sugar, highly refined, packaged. If you go to a supermarket, generally the outside aisles are where you'll get 90% of your food. It'll be the fruits and the vegetables and the meats and the produce, and some dairy is okay. But once again, I'd recommend going for organic, and try to stay away from the middle aisles, because that's generally where everything is boxed up, it's packaged, it's tinned in cans, it's generally got a lot more preservatives and colorings and flavorings and things like this. And the final tip on this is to start to get to know what's in the food that you're eating. So if you're not going for whole food, look on the ingredient label and have a look at the ingredients. Does it have a lot of numbers that are listed there? Are there a lot of names that you can't even pronounce? Generally, that's a good sign that it's not going to be good for your body. So the less ingredients there are, the better. And always the ingredient that has the highest content in foods will always be listed first. And then it goes down in order from the largest percentage right down to the smallest. So you'll look at some foods and sugar will be right up there, or another one that's not great is vegetable oil. So just start to get to know, to read the ingredient labels and really focus on and fueling your body with really amazing whole foods that are preferably organic, fresh, and you'll notice a huge shift in your energy and your body.
Absolutely, brother. That was beautiful. And I love how in depth you went. And one thing I particularly love that you shared is that you tune into your body to see what exactly it is that you feel called to eat. This is called intuitive eating. And this is going to actually bring us into our next topic, which is fasting. Because fasting actually gives you the ability to reset your gut and your entire like immune system, in prolonged fasting at least. And this can actually enable this connection you have between your gut and your brain. You have like this basically like this nerve that runs between the two, and they're constantly in communication. And so like through fasting, you have the ability again to like just completely reset like all the bacteria in there and get like a fresh start, and your body will literally tell you what it needs. But what can kind of happen is if we have like an imbalance of the like bacteria in our gut, like if we have too much bad gut bacteria, it'll actually influence our brain via that connection and influence us to consume foods that are going to fuel those, which are usually like sugar-based foods, which is in like almost everything. Now, diving a little bit deeper into fasting, again, I love just correlating to our hunter-gatherer ancestors. I just like really am very inspired by how they live compared to how we live now, because they didn't have access to food 24/7, and yet they survived very, very well. Our bodies are more designed to go in times of scarcity than it is to deal with all this abundance. Like, you know, we literally can like order food from our phones these days and have it delivered to our doors. And like any season, like if we're in winter, we can be eating tropical like pineapples and all kinds of things that we normally wouldn't have access to. And so like fasting is just really powerful to allow the body to have some space to fully digest your food. And there's just a myriad of different health benefits that fall in this category as well. And really quickly, I'll just share the difference between like intermittent fasting and prolonged fasting. So intermittent is more like, I guess you could say like short term. It's where like on a daily basis, you would have an 8-hour window that you could eat. So say from like noon to 8 p.m. And then for 16 hours, you would fast. And again, this is going to allow your body to completely digest all the food, get it through your system. But then it also has different effects on the body as well. So one is it can actually help like with your definition, like how your body tones and shapes itself. You also start to get the release of what's called BDNF, which is brain-derived neurotrophic factor. And this is basically like a type of like hormone that will create new neural pathways and neurons in your brain, literally helping you to become smarter. And then you can get into prolonged fasting, which can be from 24 hours, I mean, up until however long you would like to go. Typically, most people go 72 hours and do a water fast where you have nothing but high quality filtered water. Now, in this state, your body actually hits a point of starvation. And what happens is a term called autophagy. And this is whenever your body will start to kind of eat itself to survive, which sounds horrifying, I know, but your body's really intelligent. It will actually consume the dead and damaged cells and tissues before it touches anything else in your system that is healthy and vibrant and fully functioning. And so you literally go through this process of cellular housekeeping where your body is just like going through and clearing itself. And this makes you like less prone to like diseases and other things. Additionally, your gut resets itself where 70% of your immune system resides. So you literally get a big, massive boost to your immune system. You get to fortify it. Your kidneys and your liver will flush themselves in this process. Massive release of BDNF that we talked about earlier. It is just overall phenomenal to incorporate. I mean, I recommend at least 2 to 3 times a year, if not more.
Amazing, Kevin. You covered that topic so well. And fasting is something that I've got into as well over the probably last 18 months to 2 years. And I've found amazing benefits as well. And even another study is when you fast, your human growth hormone goes up. And this is not just about building muscle. Human growth hormone increase can affect every aspect of our health. So it can boost our energy levels. It can increase muscle mass, decrease body fat. There's so many benefits to that that sort of side effect as well, which is incredible. And for people listening to this, they might think, oh, it's too much, 72 hours, no way I could do that just on water. Just start with something. It might be intermittent fasting. Maybe you have breakfast, say, an hour or two later, or you have dinner an hour or two early, and gradually you increase the window. And then, maybe after a week or two, you try a 24-hour water fast. Maybe do that once a month, and just gradually ease into it. And you'll find you'll start to feel better. You will get more energy levels, and we definitely recommend giving it a go. So moving into the next one, which is just as important as fasting and nutrition, which is water. So water is something that is obviously everyone knows water is important, but the type and the quality of water is something that is often not talked about. So I'm going to dive into that right now. So when we go to our taps, if you're living in most inner city type areas, we go to our tap, we fill up a glass of water. Now, when we look at it, it looks clear. You think, yeah, this is safe to drink. We drink it down. We don't even think two thoughts about it. But what is actually contained in that water? Often it's going through pipe systems that are very old. The water is very high in heavy metals and other toxins that they add to the water, such as fluoride. So fluoride, I'm not going to get into a big debate about fluoride right now, but I encourage you to jump on Google and start doing some research about the toxic impact that fluoride is having on our health. There's so many scientific studies now that are out there that you can really dive in. It is a bit of a rabbit hole, but do your own research. And there are actually a lot of negative effects and impacts on the body and on our health from having fluoride in our water. So for me personally, I've got a water filter that has about 8 stages. I fill up the top cylinder, it filters down, and then when I drink my water, 99% of the fluoride is removed, the heavy metals are removed, and a lot of other toxins and bacteria that are in the water also get removed as well. So I recommend everyone get a water filter, because our bodies are 70 to 80% water, and it is the most important thing we need to do on a daily basis to clear out all of the toxins and really replenish and feed all of our cells and nourish our cells so that we can then get optimum performance. So that's one thing, water filters. The other thing as well that I recommend doing, which quite a few people are not aware of, is that when we jump in the shower and we start having a shower, and generally most people have hot showers, what happens is the chlorine that is in the water system will actually vaporize, and you can often smell that chlorine type smell. So what happens is you breathe those chlorine vapors in and breathe it into your lungs, and that has a huge impact on our bodies. That's a toxin that is vaporizing into our lungs. We're breathing that in, and that is then being passed throughout our entire system through the circulatory system. So just putting a shower filter on can filter that chlorine and other heavy metals and toxins out of the water, and then it can actually remove that when you're having a shower. Thanks, Kevin. Now, the other thing you can do is put a bath filter on as well. So a bath filter, shower filter, and a water filter will ensure that any water that you're getting is removed. All the toxins are removed, the heavy metals, and that way everything that's going into your body is pure clarity. Now, we recommend about 2 to 3 litres of water a day as a minimum. If you're looking to really flush out toxins and really regenerate, you can even increase that even more. And when you're fasting, you can even bump that up even more to 3, 4, even 5 litres to really flush out the system as well.
Beautiful, beautiful, brother. Tanya asked about bottled water. So with bottled water, my recommendation is just looking on the label and look for water that is reverse osmosis filtered. And if you want to get really deep with it, there's a YouTube video where a lady takes pH strips and she dips them into the different types of popular waters. And a lot of the bottled water on the shelf is actually more acidic than pH neutral. So if you can, reverse osmosis filtered water, which is RO, usually is how it's abbreviated. And I would look for like an alkaline based, like high pH, like at least 7 up to like, it goes all the way up to like 8, 9, 10 pH. So that's another good way to ensure that the bottled water you're buying is of high quality as well.
Awesome.
Beautiful. And this is going to bring us into our next topic. When we talk about grounding and just the power of being in nature. Now, to get a little bit into this, a lot of people can look at grounding, and what I mean by that is getting your bare feet on the earth. It can kind of have like this hippy-dippy kind of like approach, but there is actual science emerging to support the benefits of grounding. When we are on our phones constantly and we're not like barefoot with the earth because we have shoes on, we're in vehicles that have rubber tires, and like we're just all throughout our day, we come back home, we take our shoes off, we're still indoors. We never are making contact with Mother Earth. And with all the technology that is like around us at this time, cell phones, Wi-Fi, cellular reception, just all these different kinds of frequencies, we actually hold these. I mean, we're made of water and all kinds of other conductive properties that holds like a charge. And what really happens is like we start to get like this like positive charge to us. And so when we go out and put our bare feet on the earth naturally emits negative ions, which is a frequency that resonates with the body much more than these other frequencies we're exposed to all day. So you can literally think of yourself as like this conductive unit with all this charge. You put your bare feet on the earth and all the electricity can kind of like whoosh. And obviously, like if you are not in contact with the earth and you are carrying around this charge, it can lead to disease in the body. It creates free radicals in our system. And there are plenty of studies out there that show that grounding helps eliminate free radicals. And additionally, if you are someone that's deep into doing personal development or spiritual like inner exploration, doing some really heavy emotional clearing, being barefoot on the earth can actually help ground you, like literally ground like your spirit into your body. So that way you're more in this human experience and you're not kind of floating all high vibe everywhere. And additionally, just think back to our like hunter-gatherer ancestors that were mostly barefoot whenever they were out getting water and supplies, and we're just continually like in contact with the earth. It's just a natural state to be in. And this brings me to the final like little section of this, is just being out in nature in general. Like we are in a concrete jungle, most of us. We get in our car, we're in the like these neighborhoods that don't have trees, might have like a park or something, and then we drive into the city, and if you're in a big city, there's skyscrapers, all kinds of like fumes, and we're not designed for this. I mean, it kind of is what it is in some instances, but it's very important to take the time and create the space to get out and be in nature, because she will like literally like help you just peel off like all the dirt, everything that you've taken on that is not yours. Sorry, I got a notification. But yeah, she'll just help you like just literally ground yourself and pull away anything that you may have taken on that is not yours. And again, it's just a very powerful process to integrate if you're navigating some intense emotional release or anything. Just go out, be in the silence, be with the trees, be with the animals, and like you will feel more at home than you ever have in your life.
Amazing. Yeah, well said, brother. Like grounding for me has a huge impact on my life. Now I find if I go even a couple of days without grounding myself, I really feel this negative energy building up in my body, because I've become quite sensitive to it now. So every morning I go out, and one of the first things I do is put my bare feet on the ground and then look into the sunrise if possible, which I'm going to talk about next in the topic of light. But yeah, grounding is so important. And also I want to mention as well, if you've got kids, so many kids these days go weeks, if not months on end without grounding their feet, which is probably the most harmful thing you can do to their health. Because a lot of kids will get up in the morning, they'll put on their shoes and socks, and they'll get dressed, and they'll drive to school, and they'll be at school all day with shoes on, which insulates them. Then they'll come home, they'll come inside, they might play outside once again with shoes on, and then they go to bed. And this can go on for weeks or months on end. So one of the best things you can do for your kids is take their shoes and socks off and go out, and first thing in the morning ground, have a bit of a play outside, and then again late at night, and you'll find that'll have a huge impact on their energy levels. That'll decrease their anxiety. It'll just really optimize them in terms of, you know, really connecting with who they are. So I definitely recommend that as well. All right, so moving right into our last topic, which is light, and then Kevin's going to finish with a really powerful breathwork meditation, or process, I should say, which I'm really looking forward to. So the last point we're going to cover is light. Now, there are many aspects of this that I could talk about, but probably the main ones that I want to touch on today are sunlight, and I'm also going to talk about the risks of blue light exposure as well from our phones or our laptops or our downlights. So first of all, sunlight. I feel like over the last, especially the last 10 to 20 years, there's been this bit of a media campaign making sun out to be really evil, and you know, you should always wear a hat and full-length clothing, and always wear sun cream and cover yourself from the sun. And if you don't, you'll get skin cancer. And there's all these campaigns that have made people quite fearful of getting outside in the sun. The sun is essential for every single living thing on this planet. Without the sun, we would have zero life. There'd be no plants, no animals, no humans. We need sun every day, just like every other plant and animal, to function at our optimal level. Our cells need the sunlight to synthesize vitamin D and really boost our energy levels. And all it takes, we can get outside and get our skin exposed to the sun for around about 20 to 30 minutes, something like that, every day consistently, then that will have a huge impact on our health. And also, it will boost the feel-good hormone of serotonin, which makes us feel more energized. Like, how good do you feel when you go outside, you've got the sun on your back? You know, even better if you've got your feet grounded on the earth. Instantly, you feel the stress and the anxiety melt away, and you instantly feel better. So, yeah, definitely start getting more sunlight and start seeing the impact that it has on your life. The other thing I'm going to talk about as well is blue light. So once again, with technology, I love technology. It's amazing. It enables us to do things like this where we connect with people all over the world. But one of the drawbacks of technology is the impact it has on our health, because a lot of us late at night, especially, we're watching really bright TVs with LED or LCD lighting. We've got downlights, you know, I'm just building a house now, we've got 65 downlights, you know, and we're not going to use them late at night, because that bright light is really, what happens is that bright light hits our eyes and it sends a mixed message to our bodies, because our bodies feel like it's nighttime and we're winding down for bed. Usually what happens without those bright lights is our body will release melatonin, which is like the hormone that will wind us down and get us prepared for a really good restful night's sleep where we can recharge our systems. What happens is, if we're looking at bright lights, and a lot of people watch TV, they have the downlights on, they're looking at their mobile phones before bed, scrolling Facebook, whatever it might be, with those really bright lights, it actually tells our brain that it's not nighttime, and therefore it doesn't release that melatonin. So therefore, our whole sleep cycle is disrupted and we don't get into that real deep regenerative sleep. So there's a few things that you can do. One thing is you can get a blue light filter on your phone. You can also do this on your laptop or computers as well. It's called Flux. If you Google that, you can do that as well. But try to minimize exposure if possible, because some blue light still gets through. The other thing you can do as well, you can get these glasses. So I got these for my kids, blue light blocking glasses. These are the ones with orange cut out pretty much 99% of the blue light. So you can wear these late at night while you're watching TV. If you're watching TV at night, try to minimize the amount of downlights you have on. Use things like salt lamps. Himalayan salt lamps are great because you can still see, but without that real bright light. And one thing you can do in the morning as well is get out, ground your feet, look at the sunrise, and that will reset your circadian rhythm and get your body system, you know, back on track and optimizing yourself for maximum health.
Wow, what a download. Beautiful, Brad. Thank you so much for sharing all of that potent wisdom around light.
Awesome. So we're up to the breath work. Yeah, I'm really excited for this, guys. If you haven't experienced breath work before, you're about to get a real life experience of it, and yeah, it's super powerful. So Kevin's going to guide you through that. I just saw a question from Lisa. Where do you get the blue locking glass? Get that on. I'll actually, in the next email that I do with the replay for this video, I'll send out a link to the ones that I got and also the kids' ones. And that way you can check it out when you receive that email, probably later today or tomorrow.
Awesome. Yeah, so we're going to be diving into this breathwork session. And the intention here is just to support you in integrating all the information that's coming through and to help you tap into a layer of your physiology that you may not have experienced before. Now, I will give a little bit of a disclaimer here. When you're doing breath work, some people are more sensitive to the hyper-oxygenated state that we're going to enter. And so if at any point you feel like dizzy or you're seeing spots or you're going to pass out, feel free to back off a little bit for a couple of breaths and come back in, or stop completely. There's no need to force at any point or any time in this process. And so what you can do is I highly recommend like sitting somewhere where you're upright and you can really allow your lungs to expand as you're breathing. So, I mean, sitting or standing. And I'm going to give a little bit of an overview of how this structure is going to look. And Brad will actually be navigating this with you. So if it kind of sounds confusing, just follow his lead. So this is going to be called intuitive activation breath work. And it's going to be like a sort of, I don't know what the term is, but we're going to start by breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth, and the breaths are continuous. So it's going to be and we're going to do that for 11 times, and in and out is 1. So after the 11 in and out breaths, on that last exhale, we're going to hold for 11 seconds. Then after that 11 seconds, we start to cycle over, and we're going to do it for 22 breaths. So we'll be 22 in the nose, out the mouth, in the nose, out the mouth. We hit that 22 on that exhale. We're going to hold for 22 seconds. And then we're going to bring it back around one more time, and we're going to go up to 33 and repeat the exact same structure. And as you hit that 33rd breath and you breathe out, you're going to hold. And you can hold here up from 33 seconds to a minute, whatever feels right for you. And again, just remember in this process, like you might start to feel a little bit of tingling in your hands. You might feel like a little expansive. It's like a lot of it's really normal. You can usually stay pretty grounded if you just keep like breathing through it. But if you need to take a step back, that's more than okay. And one last final tip is as you're breathing, a lot of us like to breathe only into our chest. We want to bring the breath all the way down to the diaphragm. So when we're inhaling, it's like filling up fully, because this is going to put a lot more oxygen into your body, which the heart is then going to pump to your brain and all your muscles and everything. Cool. So you ready to go, Brad?
Awesome. Excited, mate. Yep, let's do it.
Okay, so we'll just start with the inhale through the nose, and remember the breaths are continuous. So breathing in. Two more. Breathing in, exhale, and stop. Keep holding. 3, 2, 1. Begin the inhales again. 22 breaths. There you go. Keep breathing. All right, now we're shifting the pH of the body. Tapping into deeper and deeper layers. All right, 2 more. And stop. Witness. Without air in the lungs, you may be able to stay with the breath more than you normally would be able to. And it's because we've shifted the pH of the body. Carbon dioxide went out, O2 went up, your cells are filling up with oxygen. Hold for about 3 more seconds. 3, 2, 1, 33 breaths. That's it. Keep it going. There we go. Keep it up. Keep breathing. 10 times more. Five more breaths. Letting go and stop. Now feel free to hold as long as you are comfortable on this phase of this breathwork session. And really just be the conscious observer of how you feel in this moment. Now, as you're continuing to hold this exhale, whenever you are ready and you're ready to inhale, you're going to do so and you're going to hold for 10 to 15 seconds on the inhale. So it's just going to be a full whenever you're ready, and you hold 10 to 15 seconds, and you're going to let everything go. Whenever you're ready, exhaling the inhale. And just allow yourself to be just for a few minutes here. You're in a very heightened and activated state, and you have the ability to tap into your intuition, into creative energies, and all kinds of other magical experiences in this state. So feel free to reflect on any area of your life you may feel you desire guidance around, and just see what comes through. And this is the way nature has intended it for us to be. Normally, we don't get into this state because of our shallow breathing, but whenever we become intentional with the breath, we can shift energy, we can shift emotional states, we can literally tap into a myriad of health benefits from having more oxygen in the body. It is a phenomenal tool to use. And whenever you are ready, feel free to open your eyes and just observe the room around you. Just take everything in without like any judgment or labels, and just feel that activation, feel that goodness. This is an incredible feeling, in my opinion.
Oh, that's so powerful, brother. So powerful. Like just instant activation of a full body, goosebumps. This is a powerful tool, guys. If you only take one strategy or one tip from this entire series over 3 days, start implementing breathwork in your life. I start every single morning with an exercise very similar to what Kevin just shared, and it connects us with our hearts. It really taps us into our source, and it grounds us. Tanya just said, feel light and grounded totally. You imagine starting every day where you go outside, you ground your feet, you look into the sunrise, you activate your circadian rhythm, you reset your body, and you do one round of breath work, 11, 22, 33, like Kevin shared. You imagine the impact that would have on your life. You start each day with a clean slate. Energetically, you're grounded, you're present, you're connected with your heart. You'll be less reactive as you go throughout your life day to day. You'll start to attract the things into your life that you want to manifest, and each day will compound. The more you do this work, the more you dive in, the more you raise your frequency and raise your vibration, the more amazing things that you will attract in your life. And one more tip that's just coming through at the moment: every morning after you do this process, sit there in gratitude, connect with your heart, and write down 3 things that you're truly grateful for. If you add that in combination with this process, your life is going to skyrocket, guarantee it.
Beautiful, brother. I entirely agree. And even additionally, just adding like a little bit of movement in the morning as well, because how you start your day ultimately determines what you're going to experience. And as Brad said, what you're going to attract in your day-to-day life.
Totally. I just saw a question from Lisa as well about helping with shallow breathing. Absolutely, Lisa. Like the more you practice this and really focusing on deep breathing into your belly and then into your lungs, you'll really deepen your capacity for breath, because as we get older, we tend to breathe a lot shorter and shallower, and it tends to be in our high chest. And it's no wonder we feel anxious. So if you ever feel anxious or you feel like you're shallow breathing, just take a moment to connect with your breath, breathe deep into your belly, even do 1 round of 11, deep breaths, and just sit with that straight away. That will boost your energy levels, that will reduce anxiety, it will connect you back in with your heart again, and make that a daily practice and a daily process. And that will definitely help you in terms of that feeling that it's short and constricted and shallow, that shallow breathing. So yeah, give it a go and let us know how you go with it.
Absolutely. And it is something that the more you practice, you will find yourself in your normal day-to-day life breathing deeper into your stomach, just because it's becoming like a routine for you. And I mean, there are literally studies that show out there that even taking like 6 slow, deep breaths all the way down in the diaphragm and back out is enough to like shift your state of consciousness, shift the state of energy that you are in. So like, even if you're going to go out and drive somewhere, like take 6 breaths before you start the car and drive. And it can entirely change like, how you respond to other drivers being all crazy on the way to work.
Totally. Yeah, and even when you feel anxious day to day, something happens in your life, you feel that anger, that frustration, those emotions bubbling up to the surface. Take a time out just for 5 or 6 breaths. You can do this at the traffic lights. You can do it when you get home from work, before you connect with your kids, whatever it is. It will just ground you, bring you back into your heart, and then you'll find that you'll be a lot less reactive from day to day.
You're very welcome, Lisa, and thank you everyone else
Awesome,
that is
Lisa.
tuned in to our webinar tonight.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, guys. And yeah, we're super excited about day 3 tomorrow. We're going to be bringing it all together and talking about spirit and really sharing some powerful tools. So hopefully you can join us for that. I know a lot of people, probably majority of people, are going to watch the replay because we're on time zones. We've got people from the UK, the US, New Zealand, Australia. So we try to choose a time zone that suits everyone, but that's just impossible. So yeah, watch the replay. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you same time tomorrow.
Absolutely. And at the end of the call tomorrow, we'll actually be going through a beautiful heart-centered guided meditation. So be sure to be there for that as well. It's going to be very magical.
Yeah, super powerful. All right. Thank you, Tanya, Lisa, Emily, Carl, all of you guys that jumped on live. And yeah, to everyone on the replay, I hope you enjoy it. And we'll see you tomorrow.
Bye, family. Much love.
Bye.